p.m. sharp. 8 p.m. sharp. Saturday, January 25th at the Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the National Celebrations Committee Independence Calypso Monarch Competition 2020. 11 artists have been selected to challenge the reigning monarch, show us the sour support. Admission free. Come out in your numbers and witness for yourself. Will Sour Support hold on to his reign, or will Rootsman Kelly, Teacher Eddie, Hawks, Stunner, Zena, Gun, Katura, The Reporter, Denson, Professor Shaggy, or Royalty rise to the occasion? Only time will tell. Remember the date, Saturday, January 25th, 8 p.m. Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the Independence Calypso Competition.
Good morning, Grenada. It is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here in the Spice Isle of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. A special good morning to all of you joining us on 97.5 City Sound FM, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 Sister Isle Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. Of course, a special good morning to those of you joining us on the live video. Remember to like the live, share the live, be a part of the process, and of course involve everyone in that process as well. And as promised, on Monday we have a very packed week for you. We would have began the conversation about buying local, supporting local, involving yourself in everything local, to help build our local economy. And as promised, we have our Honorable Minister for Trade in studio with us this morning, who's going to help give us a good insight, on what's going on in that department and why we really need to support local and what difference it's going to make for us to do that. So good morning, Minister. How are you?
Good morning, and good morning to all the listeners and viewers. I'm doing well.
All right, wonderful. So we have a lot of conversation, of course. As you promised, I know this is something that's very close to your heart to talk about as it relates to our food import bill, because I hear it's pretty high.
Yes, it might surprise some people how high it is.
Yeah.
So let me start out by saying that trade plays a very key role in the economy. We import, we export, and in 2018, our trade balance was in a deficit of 1.05 billion. What that means, simple, is that we imported 1.05 billion more than we exported.
Wow.
So that is total inputs. Now, today, we'll go to one aspect of it, which is the food input part. So that will be the focus today. And the next time we'll talk about vehicles.
I know that's a big topic for everybody.
Yes, but today let us look at the food, because this is the one that I'm very passionate about.
Okay.
And we have the Made in Grenada Expo coming on the 7th of February, which is the Independence Day. Every year, Ministry of Trade put on this Made in Grenada Expo to allow our local producers to exhibit their products. And it has been very successful over the years. This year is no exception. I want to invite all Grenadians, when they come down to the Independence Rally and the Independence Celebration, to take some time off to visit our local manufacturers and the products, because they really produce a lot of products in Grenada we are not even aware of, and they need our support.
Right.
And that is extremely critical, because I tell you what our trade balance is.
Okay, wonderful. But I want to appeal to our listeners, those of you out there who have questions, because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions as it relates to supporting local, buying local, how much we import as opposed to how much we export. I want to advise you that you can put your comments and your questions on the live video, but additionally, write down your questions so when you're ready to call, you know what you're asking, all right? But we're not going to open the lines just yet. We're going to give the minister an opportunity to explain. So get a pen and paper, write down your questions, and of course you want to take the information that he is giving, because of course it's valuable information. We always say that we try our best to give you this information so that when you speak from an informed position, right? You speak about the facts. Can't dispute facts, right? So, Minister, give it to us.
So food now.
Give it to us.
So Grenada is a net food importing country.
Right.
We import almost everything that we need. The value, and that's something that people need, of the total food input. So what I'm going to do is give the value.
Okay.
The value of total food imported for 2018 was 228.74 million. That's food input.
Wow.
228.74 million in 2018. In 2019, the latest figures we have available for 2019 saw an increase.
Wow.
So 2019 food input bill is 260 million.
Wow.
260 million 506,735.
Wow.
A slight increase from 228 million to 260. You could forget all the other thousands, just say 228.74 and say 260.5.
Right.
So we saw an increase in food, and what I will do on this program is go through the various categories of food.
Right.
Right? So, of that amount, now, 56.04 million was spent on meat and meat products. So, I will repeat that.
Wow.
56.04 million was spent on meat and meat products, including 30.72 million on poultry imports. You know we consume a lot of poultry in Grenada?
Apparently.
Well, not apparently, the figures are showing that, the reality. So that's the reality. What you go all about now, barbecue used to be only on weekends. Every day I seen barbecue, right?
Yep.
And chicken is used in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Pilau, stew, barbecue, everything you could think about. So it is the most widely consumed meat. 30.72 million. So the government has decided that no, we have to develop the poultry sector to address that. And so I'm pleased to report that we have 2 plants, poultry plant that has been established. I've visited one in Post Royal in St. Andrews, and they have very modern equipments, very modern. What I was told is they can do 2,000 birds a day.
Wow.
In this plant. Yes, real. So we should see a shift from the imported chicken, hopefully, to the locally produced fresh chicken, which is better.
Yeah.
Because the chicken that we get is in frozen containers, some for months,
Yep.
They come from Brazil, end up in Miami in warehouses, frozen, and then come to Grenada. And my uncle said to me, the only reason it tasting good still is because we cook with a lot of seasoning. Because yes.
True.
But local chicken is much healthier. But as you know, we never went full into the production that is where people want the parts.
Right.
What we do at the moment is grow chicken and sell it whole.
Right.
So whole chicken we supply the market with. But the parts. So these 2 plant, one is going to start operating as soon as next month. Okay, they have everything in place.
Okay.
That will see a shift in the input bill, the amount, and in terms of the consumption. People getting fresh input bill. And it will also create jobs for a number of farmers. All you need to do is just grow the chicken and take it to the plant.
Also, the plant is not, while they may be producing their own chicken for slaughter, they're also encouraging farmers to produce as well.
Yes, that's
and
right.
Bring to
That's
the
right.
farms.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
They are encouraging. In fact, they start to contract farmers already.
Oh, wow.
That will produce for them and sell. Just like
Okay.
how we used to do banana in the banana days, where we just cut and send to the
Yeah.
plant. Or as we do with nutmeg, we pick it up and send it to the receiving station.
Yeah.
Similarly,
Okay.
with the chicken. And I'm very, very pleased about that, because for the last 5 years as Minister of Trade, I've been everybody's speech trying to promote and say that Grenada must start. Most CARICOM countries are self-sufficient, I lived in Barbados and they are self-sufficient. Right. Trinidad is self-sufficient. Jamaica is self-sufficient. Guyana is self-sufficient.
Right.
It's only some of us in the OECS, the smaller territories. Now starting up, St. Lucia is now at 50% local, yes, in the market. So we will we'll take a gradual approach too. We hope that by the end of this year, so far we are 10% of the market, but mainly for whole chicken. With the production coming on, if you could add another 15%, so we could see 25% this year, and then as we move on, we could be self-sufficient in producing this thing. So that is one area, but that is not the only area. So let me move on to some other areas. I spend time on the poultry because it's a problem that we could solve easily. And so, and as you see, 30.72 million. If we get half of that to stay in Grenada, 15 million for the 2 plants, yes, to go on the ground. Now, our next area, milk and milk products. 21.55 million. Well, that might surprise you that we import all this milk and milk products. Or it may not, because people like milk. So we put 21.55 million in that. Cheese, 10.07 million.
Okay.
Pastry, biscuits, cakes, bread, all these things are lumped into one heading. I'm using the customs definition now. Right. The figures came from customs. Statistics Office provided the detailed information for me. 16.48 million. And I will go down and show some. If I'm going too fast, you go let me know. Because these figures, no one ever dispute these figures. What it says, they always asking the question, I don't know, the first question, what is government doing about that? That always, nobody will say that these figures are not correct. because as I said, it come direct from the input from customs,
Right.
goes to the statistics division where it is put together.
Yeah, so they can't dispute the
No, well, they
figures.
don't. No, to be fair, no one ever disputed it.
Right.
Everyone concerned, as I say to you, after this program, and you will hear callers, I'm sure, what is government
government
doing? So
Right.
let me tell you what is government policy. Now, these government policies, that we will provide all the incentives for the private sector to get into manufacturing, to get into the various sectors. So you see the two plans that I mentioned, all the funding came from the private individuals who have decided they will go into the business of producing chicken.
Okay.
What government did is to give the concession on the importation of the machinery. Yes.
Okay.
And government will provide even more incentives for them. But government, and I'm making it very clear from the beginning, you will not see government getting into agro-processing.
Right.
That is not government business.
Right.
Government business to support. So every time people come to me and say, why are we not going into agro? I say, well, you go into it. Government will give you all the support you need.
Right.
The plant, manufacturer, there are additional concessions they could get. So I'm answering the question early, why government, when you say what is government doing? Government is doing a lot by giving incentives, creating the right environment. It will pay, even you get deduction from taxes for training people.
Right.
So government is providing all the incentives, but the private sector must get involved in it. We don't believe that government should get involved in this thing.
Okay.
So I will highlight some more as I move along. Chicken sausages and other canned stuff, 1.3 million. Salami sausages, 1.13 million. When you add up all the different sausages that we import in tin, that comes up to about 5 million.
Wow.
So, well, these things we don't produce it here.
Yeah.
No, a lot of the things that I'm calling out, we do not produce it here, and therefore we must import it. But poultry, as I said, is something that we can do, and other meats. We import a lot of, do you know that we still import a lot of pork and beef and mutton in the country? Yeah. We import a lot of these things. Yes. So from the figures I'm looking at here, for the importation of the cuts of meat, swine, sheep, goat, come up to $1.3 million. I'm highlighting those that are above $1 million, if you notice. And so we have sausage. I mentioned this one. This will come under poultry, ducks, and so on. Then we have milk and cream, which I mentioned as a high, is $1.4 million. What we call Irish potato is not really Irish, because we used to get it from Ireland before.
Right.
That is why it was called Irish potato,
Mm-hmm.
But when we get it from Holland, we still say, we don't say Dutch potatoes, but Dutch. So the category is white potatoes, 8.5 million.
Wow.
Just in white potatoes that we bring in. As I said, we don't get it from Ireland anymore. We get most of it from Holland. We get a lot from the US now. This brand name one, I see. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. So just on the potatoes alone is $8.5 million. And do you know that we import a lot of ice cream? And I'll give you a story about ice cream. 1.365 million in ice cream. Whoever thought we'd be importing all this ice cream? A few years ago, not long, because I was Minister of Trade at the time, Trinidad and Tobago government came to the COTE, the Council for Trade and Economic Development, seeking permission to increase the CET and ice cream, because the American ice cream was giving the local ice cream so much competition. Yes. Whoever thought ice cream was going to be competitive would give the local manufacturers. Yeah. So they were given permission to increase their CET rate to help the local manufacturers. And that is what we're going to do when we start having the poultry. Yes. We will increase our rate.
Yes.
Because we have a bound rate that we could go to of 100%.
Right.
So we will move to that point. As I already mentioned, cheese, there's a whole different variety of cheese, but in all they came up to $10 million
Wow.
in the importation of cheese. You see, people use cheese a lot of different ways, just like chicken. So these are all the foods that we continue to import here. Canned stuff, tuna and corned beef and sardines and tin. They all create all these things that part of our high food import bill. You have, for example, salted fish, smoked herring, fish in brine, $3.18 million spent importing it. So while I indicate that Grenada will always continue to import, I think what we need to do is to look at these figures, see the millions, and try to encourage our people to get into some of the things that we could do.
A question I have before you go on. You stated that, excuse me, government is providing, of course, incentives to the private sector to go into producing, right? Or producing, or creating the atmosphere for producing, or for farmers to sell their products to them for mass production. Let's talk about chicken, for example. How is the setting up of cooperatives? How does that tie into encouraging our local people to set up cooperatives so that they themselves can create these businesses where they can produce what their farmers supply?
As Minister for Cooperatives, we have the department over the last 3 years went out on a campaign to encourage the establishment of cooperatives. I must say, though, that the history of it is not very encouraging. A lot of cooperatives have been formed over the years, but they have not survived. Because to start it up, you require a minimum of 10 members, and you have to be accountable. You have to have good records, and then ensuring you account for the monies received and how it's spent. And it seems to me that once the cooperatives start making profit and doing well, there are always some issues as to accounting.
Right.
And so what we are doing now, the new approach, therefore, having realized that, is to train people first.
Right.
Before they start the cooperative, train them in financing, how to keep simple books and so on. When they have management meeting, what are the important things they need to discuss. The cooperative department need to be making more regular inspection to encourage them, to always guide them and to ensure that they succeed. But it has been a challenge. This year we are on a new drive together with the youth department, because you have a lot of Imanis.
A lot of Imanis.
And we're working with the youth department to establish cooperatives.
Do the cooperatives, when formed, do they have access to grant funding?
They have we get some small grant funding that could help with startup. And of course, we are the Small Business Development Fund.
Right.
And GDB managed.
Right.
But it's managed by a separate committee now, where you can apply for small business development loan. And last year we've been very successful in the number of jobs that have been created, right, and the number of small businesses that have been established. So yes, we want to encourage a lot of that. At the Empower graduation, the minister announced that there is a fund. I think they made some deduction from the participants and bought equipment and give it to them to start.
Right.
So they are giving them startup costs to do it, because for the Christmas, I know some of the Empower graduates from my constituency were doing power washing,
right,
and weed eating, and they were very happy about that. So yes, cooperative is one area that we are looking at, but individuals too can start their own business,
right,
and they will get support,
right,
in going forward with this. So we're coming down now to parboiled rice in package, 2.15 million. Other parboiled rice, when you add up all the rice that we import, come up to 3 million. Wow. Well, you can understand rice because we don't grow rice.
Yeah.
And, people, that's widely consumed meat. there are some things here that we could understand why we have to import it.
Yes.
You know, rice and milk and so on, you know. But there are others that we could do locally to help people develop anything. So we have corn and other corn products and seeds, $3.4 million that imported. And for the Christmas, mainly when we import hams and so on, 1.2 million. But ham is seasonal. All of us is right year round.
Yeah.
It's available. Wheat, well, we make flour here, so we import a lot of wheat into the country. And there we put a lot of cereals. Yeah, well, this one I sure wouldn't surprise you because you see all different brands of cereal on the market. 2.94 million in cereals. Then we have a next category called toasted bread, ginger bread, sweet biscuits, confectionaries, and so on. What you see in the supermarkets, the wafers and all kind of things. So adds up to 5 million.
Wow.
You see these little things that you see on the shelf. The bulk, because we import, in bulk. It really, it adds up, you know. Yeah, things like you've seen all these different Milo and Ovaltine and coffee and all these things. It adds up to a lot. So all these heavily food we import heavily, all this dried fish. I think dried fish is one I think we should go into. If we have enough fresh fish, we could make it. Yes. So there are some I think that we could. Well, you know, next one that we import heavily a lot of onions. You know, everybody think they have to put onion when they season meat. I don't know if that's a tradition or if onion adds this big value to it. But whatever it is, we put $1.4 million in onions. Yeah. But that wasn't surprising to me because I know people are always curious about having onion when they're seasoning. Yeah. So that small thing you might see a small amount of onion that you're using, and it adds up to a lot. So, and then we put a lot of other food stuff, you know, on the shelf. That really this huge amount, this figure for 2019 of 260.5 million. I would like to see us reduce that, right? Reduce it. I say poultry is going in the right direction. If we can have fishermen maybe providing smoked fish or dried fish to help. I don't know if we could be successful in potatoes. Why? Because we have sweet potatoes.
The only way we know is if we try.
Now, the Ministry of Agriculture, I'm sure, did research on that already.
Yeah. But one of the questions I want to ask, because it was something that really sparked this conversation. Last week, a caller was saying that one of the reasons that they are hindered from supporting local would be the price. And I was trying to explain economies of scale, of course, where larger companies are able to have their price or their product at a reduced price simply because they have power of sale, meaning that more people purchase from their business and so on, and that's why they are able to reduce their prices. And maybe you can explain that a little better than I can for the caller.
Well, all economies of scale mean the size. Means is that if you produce more and more larger volumes, the unit cost will drop at a certain point. Right. So if you produce over a certain amount, the marginal, well, let me don't use economic term. The cost of producing the extra unit will drop.
Right.
And therefore you could sell the product overall at a cheaper rate. If you're doing it at a small scale, it takes you a longer time to achieve the scale where the per unit costs of producing the next one drops.
Right.
And therefore, in a small economy, what you have to focus on is quality. And that is what we're stressing in the Made in Grenada export.
Right.
The quality of products you will get. So even if, for the fresh chicken produced on the market, a pound of, say, legs or wings is 5 cents more or 10 cents more for the legs. But you're getting quality chicken. You know it's grown right here. There are no hormones in it. It's not frozen for a long period of time. So it's healthier.
Yeah.
And so it's better to spend 5 cents more per pound than you use the imported one and you have to spend more in medical.
Right.
So that, I think, is what has to be the focus. So yes, the price, almost everything you produce in Grenada could be produced somewhere else cheaper. Everything. So we have to look at the other side of it and say as well, I'm paying for quality, for healthier products, natural products in some cases that you produce. And if you start looking at just the dollar value, and I know that chicken, and sticking to poultry, is very price sensitive. So if you go in the supermarket and you see the imported one for $1 pound and you see the local one for $1.10, you have the tendency to buy it. But I think with the education, they need a education system, starting with Food and Nutrition Council and Ministry of Education. Well, I heard Ministry of Education say they're going to, with healthy snacks in schools now, and healthy diet, and that's a good response. So if you supply all the schools with the locally produced chicken, because they have the school feeding program, I think we could make a big difference. As I said, the other countries that have reached self-sufficiency, where people get so used to the locally produced chicken that they don't want the imported
and
chicken.
It tastes better.
Well, of course, it is
better.
much better. So yes, the price will take, but it's far superior quality. I know for sure in the case of poultry, it's a far superior quality, and therefore we should support local. When you come to the Made in Grenada Expo, you might see there are a lot of things like soap and creams, and they are producing Grenada,
Wow.
Yes, a lot of different products that they use, the natural things that we have here to produce.
Is the Ministry of Trade looking at hosting the Made in Grenada Expo more than just around the independence season, but maybe quarterly or so on, so people are more aware of the things that we have in Grenada, or the things that we supply, or things that are produced within Grenada?
Well, not quarterly for sure, because the expo is a big thing, and you have to plan and cost a lot of money and resources. What the ministry is planning to put on one around Carnival time.
Okay.
Yes, we planned one last year at the craft center. So we planning this year. We want to have a big one, because a lot of Grenada visitors going to be here. Let the city local producers and support them. Now, when we talk about the August one, some companies from Trinidad asked if they could participate. Well, I said to them, the Independence one is Made in Grenada Expo.
Right, Made in Grenada.
Right, so we're not changing the Made in Grenada. But for the August one, we're thinking maybe we could expand it a bit. Or maybe still stick it Made in Grenada, keep it there. Let the locals get the support from all the thing. But there are interest from other firms outside of Grenada.
But that only goes to show that not only other businesses wanting to come here and market their stuff, but it goes to show that our carnival probably just has a bigger market.
Yes, and remember, the carnival keep growing and growing. Last year we had 15,000 visitors coming for carnival. So I said to the Minister of Culture, if we have a next big event during the year, right? And we get half of this among half of the people that we get, that will really stimulate growth in the economy. The amount of money people spend when they come. So we must identify a next big event. Well, Independence, not many people will come for Independence because it is celebrated in their jurisdiction.
Right.
We send ministers to New York and Canada and various places to celebrate with the Grenadians there. So they wouldn't come to Grenada for Independence. So that's not a major attraction. So the Christmas, you will see people coming around, but that will be to join families. Family. But I'm talking about, I know once jazz festival started.
Right, music festival.
Well, it started as jazz first. Then it was changed to the music festival.
Right.
I'm saying that maybe, I don't know what you could do, but it seems to me that we need a next big event.
Yes.
And than just the carnival.
Than just the carnival.
I mean, carnival is big, it's successful, and you can attract all these people. We need to have a next big one that will attract maybe half of the amount of people.
Right.
To come, or one third of 95,000 extra people coming in.
Well, I know for me, when it comes to food and things being made, and I want to, if I want to try something new, I would want to taste it. I think one of the things that the Made in Grenada Expo, the persons involved should consider is having just a little taste testing. You have a bottle of jam, you put aside one with some cricks or whatever it may be for people to taste.
No, they do that.
Okay.
Yes, when you go to the booth, if it's something, they not only alcohol, they quickly give you a taste.
Yes.
What are you talking about? And maybe that is what it shouldn't be tasting. But anyway, yes, I agree with you. They have some you will see with jams and jellies and other things. They will encourage you to taste. Even with the cream, they tell you put it on your hands. They tell you put it on your hands. Of course, they won't give you the soup to go with because you probably wouldn't buy. But they have to think about other ways. You are saying they must look at other ways of promoting.
Yes.
And I agree with you. They must look at other ways of promoting, because I'm always amazed when I go there every year to see the products that are made here.
Yeah.
I mean, cream from all sort of things.
Yeah.
And here products from all sort of local stuff.
Yeah, I think advertising is one of our biggest downfalls when it comes to our locally produced products. Like, Grenadians are not big on advertising. You make some jam, you sell it in a supermarket, Foodland buys it, you sell it in one of the local shops or so on. But you would see places like La Grenade, for example. Every now and again, they'll set up shop in front of Foodland, and they'll have a stall there where you can come and taste what they have, whether it's something new or something that they would have had, to kind of encourage people to buy what they are producing. And I think our locals need to do a little bit more of that.
Well, I'm going to make a statement and show going to surprise you. Some of our small businesses do not want to grow big. They like to say small. They contend. I remember we had a conference here, and when the participants from overseas taste a particular product, I don't want to call a name because the person will know, and I went to them and I said, well, you could just get a container load of that to Trinidad, because look how much. You know what was the response? Listen, we see in trouble to supply the local market. Where we go, how we go get stuff to send to?
Yeah.
I said, Lord, what's your opportunity? So that person want to stay small, because there's an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
So if you're making, even the people that produce this side, the side, and then they mix it into seasoning and all these things, you say, come together. Because everybody, you just can't export 2 boxes of seasoning. Right. Pull yourself together. Buy from others if it's necessary. Full of 20 food containers, send it to New York.
Yes.
Just to simply come together.
Yeah.
To do that is a difficulty.
And that's why I encourage all the time, and every time I come here, and people get tired of me saying it, but I'm going to continue saying it, that it takes all of us to make this thing work, because and that's a great idea. I mean, you have 10 farmers, 10 of them producing the same thing, but everybody wants to sell a little bit here and a little bit there. And if you're saying, let's come together, let's create a brand, let's create a cooperative, let's come together and fill a container and send it to the U.S. and they will continue to get market.
Of course.
Because there are people in the U.S. and Canada that are dying to get a little jam from here, a little honey from here.
Yes, they always want the things from here.
Yeah, you have to hide your thing in a suitcase. I have one of my best friends she's in the UK now, and she was trying to make an oil down recently. She couldn't get any local breadfruit, so she saw breadfruit in a tin. And she bought it, and she said it was awful. So we have to send up breadfruit for her. But what I'm saying is, if we can make these things readily available on the international market, it's better for them, and of course it's better for us as well, because it grows our economy. It gives our farmers more exposure, and more incentive to continue.
They get more income.
Of course.
So they create wealth.
Of course.
And they can do more. But these are things that we need to continue working on. Because we've seen a shift. For eggs, this year, we were self-sufficient.
Yes.
We did not have to import eggs.
And I loved it, because now I can go to the supermarket and buy a dozen eggs for $5.50. because there's a surplus.
Yesterday I bought for $5.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is amazing. So it means that Grenadians could eat more eggs.
Yes, and I think it's one of the reasons over the years, even growing up as a child, I would hear my mother say, well, all you have to go in town early because we need to get eggs.
Yeah, for
We
Christmas
know-
time.
Yes, Christmas time. We know that eggs, and I see her listening. So
No, but I will tell you, 4 years ago, as a Minister for Trade, I had to issue a license to import a container load of egg from Miami. A 20-foot container egg, you know what egg that is? So I was so pleased this year.
Yeah,
when I saw, now we have a glut on the market,
Yes, the president of the Farmers Association was recently, I believe, on To The Point, appealing to people to support, because we have been asking for it over the years.
Yes,
we
that's
have
right.
been complaining, and now that it's available, and in excess, we tend to shy away from purchasing it. I buy a lot of eggs. My kids eat a lot of eggs.
Yeah, well, now it's $5.
And now it's $5.
It's more from 10 to 5.
From 10
That's
to
a
5.
big reduction in the price.
Of course.
So I hope more Grenadians will consume eggs,
Yes.
because it's nothing wrong with eggs, What you used
Very
to hear
healthy.
before is that's a myth. We should eat more eggs. You see, the Christmas, obviously, the demand will increase because everybody baking and doing all sort of thing with egg. But now, just for the household income to January now, and it dropped right down.
Yeah.
So you could eat more.
Eat more
Jerry,
eggs.
and for independence, maybe make more things with eggs for independence
Yeah.
and help the farmers. Just so we accomplish the egg production, I want to see that in the poultry, the meat,
Yes.
chicken,
Yes.
in supply in the local market.
So, as the minister would have said before, the persons responsible for opening now this poultry production plant, they're appealing to people to rear not livestock but poultry, and they will go ahead and do all of the
yes, as I
slaughtering
said,
and so
they're
on.
actually contracting farmers.
Right.
They're going out there contracting farmers. Pig production is also up for the Christmas. Pig production was up.
Right.
We still import a lot of pork, as I'll show you. So the local pork, it's good that we have. The problem we have, though, is that a lot of people around Christmas time couldn't get mutton, no goat.
All right, and we'll go right back to that, but we'll take our first call for the morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I am pleased to hear the discussion. I just have a question for the minister. Is there, and what is, if there is, any incentive for young people, old people, anyone in Grenada in terms of building cooperatives, as you mentioned, coming together and putting a container produce to send to America? Is there, and what is the incentives, if there is any, to address such issues where there's a lot of people that would love to come together, I think, but I don't think they see any incentives. We know that coming together is an incentive. However, for example, big business that wants to import certain things and giving concession, and I may not be able to hear you very well. You guys are really low, so if you're responding, I won't be able to hear you until I'm finished. But I know big businesses can get concessions for certain things, breaks on duties on importing certain equipment for their businesses. Is there anything in place like that? And I think if there is, you should try to expand on that so that we can understand that there is things out there that we can take advantage of if we come together in a certain way. So if you can, please address that. And secondly, I must say I've seen a lot of progress in Grenada, even though there's a complaint that there is no money in Grenada. The money and the access or the opportunities to access that money needs to be taken advantage of by us, but I think we behave in a way that, as you were saying earlier, doesn't really lend itself to taking advantage of that. So, for example, we don't come together in cooperatives. So if you can, thank you very much, and please address that. I'll be listening.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller, for your comment. That's a very good question, because people up to today still think the government giving incentives only to big business. They still tell me that. That is not correct. In fact, what we did during the structural adjustment program, we put all the concessions and all the incentives into legislation.
Right.
So it's there in law. And everyone can access it. Now, the issue of coming together, as I indicated, is one that marketing board want to send a container out, but they need to go to all the farmers to get the product
Right.
to export. And you have other private farmers who are doing that, but all they do is to go and buy directly from the farmer.
Right.
But I think the caller is saying the same farmers should come together
Yeah.
and form a cooperatives.
Yeah.
And the incentive under the Cooperative Act is that they will be exempted from paying the business the corporation tax. And they will be given incentive and plant and equipment.
Right.
Once you register as a cooperative, now it's different from if you register as an ordinary business, you have to pay corporation tax and all the other things. But as a cooperative, the
Right.
Cooperative Act exempts you from certain taxes that the ordinary business will pay. And so when the cooperative department talk to people and say, you have some advantages, if you operate as a cooperative, or instead of just going to register, do a business registration
Right.
as a limited liability company or whatever.
Right.
So register as cooperative and get the incentive as cooperative and come together and you will get additional assistance. And if the caller wants to get a copy or get a full idea of where these incentives are managed through the Grenada Industrial Development Corporation,
Right.
so they have all the information online. Can go online or go to them if they cannot access it online, and they will get all the information regarding that. In terms of access to money, the banks are very liquid. Credit union, all of them liquid, but they do not want to give loans to small business.
Yeah.
They think the risk is too high, so they prefer to deal with big business, and that is why the government has stepped in. And this year, 2020 budget, $5 million has been allocated to Small Business Development Fund to assist small business people.
Okay. Guys, the lines are open for calls if you have your questions that you'd like to ask our minister. The number to call is 440-7377 if you are local. And, of course, 347-329-3101 if you are calling from overseas. So as the minister would have explained, and I think everybody by now knows that our food import bill is way too high. And there's a lot that we can do as a people to not just minimize on the cost of that, because what the spin-off effect of that is going to do is it's going to create more employment, because you have now cooperatives seeking to employ persons to help, because of course their business is growing. So now they need more persons to assist in the labor, and then you have from that as well a healthier society, and of course we are supporting the local economy, which of course is very, very, very important. These
things you have to start with education,
Yeah.
from the primary school, because it seems that to us in the Western world we love to we love the foreign goods, we seem to have a taste for foreign goods. So that's not that has to, as I mentioned earlier, is the health benefit must be stressed,
Yeah.
to get people to accept that. Otherwise, we continue to import all these things and have this preference for foreign over local, when we know that the local things are much healthier.
Yeah. But somebody was commenting on the live video regarding the amount of livestock that we import. What ways do you suggest we can address this issue? But we'll take that question as soon as we take this call. Good morning, caller.
Hello?
Hi, good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning.
Caller, before you continue, could you please lower the
What is that?
volume? Can you please lower the volume of your radio, please?
Yes, I'm outside.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
pertaining to the eggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're very low. I'm barely hearing you.
Any better?
Just a little.
Okay.
Yes, put it into the eggs. The minister is saying, yes, he's happy the eggs are cheap. But then the fall feed is a bit expensive. And if your rain falls, the eggs are cheap, and then you have to pay how much are you not even making a profit off it, you know?
Oh, well, I don't think he was saying that it's good that the eggs are cheap. I mean, they're cheap now because there's a glut on the market. I think what he was referring to is more the fact that now we can sustain ourselves when it comes to the production of eggs, and how important it is for us to support local. Because if we continue to support local, then there wouldn't be this glut on the market. We would just have enough, to sustain ourselves.
Well, caller, if the price fall to $5, you will expect higher demand. The market go based on supply and demand, so people will demand more. So even if it is $5, it does not mean that you will make less profit, because if I'm selling eggs, right, at $10 a dozen, but I could only sell at $10, I can only sell 100 dozen, right? And the price goes to $5 and I could sell 200 dozens. I'm still making the same profit. Yeah. So it is based on the demand for the product. Because when you were selling it at $10, the feed was the same price. And at $5, perhaps at $5 you might be just breaking even. And at 10 you're making a certain amount of profit. But as I said, if you could sell more, and that is what is happening now. Because the farmers have more eggs to sell, they can drop the price and still make the profit. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. I know it seems like we've lost that caller. It's definitely going to have to try once again. But, Minister, as it relates to the importation of livestock, what can we do or what encouragements, incentives do we have for farmers who want to get into the rearing of livestock? Because, as you said, for December, there was a decrease in the amount of mutton that people have access to for the Christmas season. So what can we do? And I say we, meaning, of course, government, who provides incentivizes the opportunities, and, of course, us Grenadians who have to take advantage of the environment that government is creating for us to do these things.
First of all, we have to understand why people import what they import. The only reason why we import livestock is because there is a shortage on the market. If we had enough, like I'll give you the example of eggs. 4 years ago, we had to bring in a container load of eggs. Now there is sufficient, no request for license to bring in eggs.
Yeah.
If there is sufficient poultry, local livestock, there will be no demand for foreign livestock. So the Ministry of Agriculture have identified farmers to work with, to specifically work with them in the livestock area. To increase, especially, they have worked with them and they have increased pork production, and they are now working with them to increase on mutton, on breeding of goods.
All right, we have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and good morning to Mr. Joseph.
Yeah, good morning.
I'm hearing this argument for a lot of years. That is the cutting back of our import bill. But I'm looking at it critically as it relates to trade. Are you with me?
Yes.
Right. You're looking at trade. Should we contemplate on cutting back on the majority of the things that we import in on? What would happen to the shipping aspect where we're not exporting to cover foreign exchange? And should we go that way, wouldn't it have a more devastating effect on the economy? Because you see, I look at it at the aspect that we should be a consumer nation and diversify through tourism to make up what we cannot export. So we don't need to ship anything. If we can bring in the tourist numbers here, we can continue producing what we produce so they will eat it here. But if we're going to concentrate on, let us say, cutting back on the export, I'm afraid that will interfere with the ability of the companies, the business people to import. And that will impact, I think, more negatively on the economy than what we're doing right now.
All right, thanks.
The second thing I want to raise is the banks. Yes, you quietly mentioned that the banks doesn't want to lend to local people because of the fact that we're failing. Banks don't really fund failures. But as it relates to the local banks, we are banking in these banks, and when we go for a loan, we cannot qualify based on the policy of the bank. Shouldn't the government put some law in place to ensure that the bank, whether the government spending its money to fund local people in business, the banks with our money then will be forced to lend us the money that we put there to do our business? Wouldn't we be better doing that?
All right, thank you
sir.
so much for your contribution, caller.
Caller, regarding the second point first, I don't see how the government could force private banks to lend money, because the bank will do their own assessment, the risk analysis, and based on the risk, they will decide whether they will give a loan or not. What the government has done to help small business people is to create a fund, small business development fund, and this year has been increased to 5 million to help these very micro and small businesses who cannot access money from the banks and other financial institutions. With respect to your first point, what we said in the beginning, and that Grenada will always be a net food importing country, because we cannot produce everything that we import. All we are doing is focusing on the areas that we think we have the ability to meet local demand. That is the area we need to focus on, and that will create jobs. So we'll have bigger growth in the economy as more jobs are being created, and local businesses have running their own business and employing people and spending right in the local economy. The link between tourism and agriculture, I agree with you, and that is something I'm pleased to see what is happening now. Do you know that Silver Sands and Sandals send the chef directly to the farms and point out to the farmers what they want?
Yeah.
And they are now producing for these hotels. Direct link with tourism and agriculture, and all the eggs and so on, and the seasoning and everything, they are done locally now, They are buying these things locally, telling the farmers what it is that they want, and you see the direct linkage now between tourism and agriculture. And that is the direction that we are going, but we'll always be in a state, because a small island state, be importing most of the things because we simply do not produce it.
Yeah.
But I think for the areas, we point out poultry and other areas that we think we could work on, and I think we should go in that direction.
All right, wonderful. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hi. Sorry to call back, but someone, the last call, I think, just made a statement that I think, I'm not sure if I heard the minister address it, but I think it really, really needs to be addressed because it's really important. He mentioned increasing the amount of tourists that comes to Grenada as a way of, and I hope I'm not misrepresenting what he said, but as a way to improve the economy. And as much as that would improve the economy in the short term, in the long term, it's unsustainable and it's an unhealthy way to build an economy. We cannot build an economy based on people's charity, based on people's liking our island and wanting to come here. It's an advantage that we have, but we should have a sustainable, renewable economy where tourism augments that and adds to that like cream on top. We should not be building an economy based on tourism. If something happens in the world outside of us, where tourists come from, our economy will be dead. So I'm not sure if that's what the person was advocating when they called. But Grenada we're small, as the minister just said. We cannot produce everything we need, but we can produce a lot of the things we need and a lot of things we use. That will help us create a sustainable, renewable economy, because when the outside world gets a cold, we won't die. We need to be very, very mindful of the fact that we're a small nation, and as much as people love our country and as much as our country is beautiful and safe for visitors to come, that doesn't mean that they will always come in the capacity that they do. When that happens, if that happens, what do we do then? Where do we import the food from? We can't just have a country where tourists are coming and we're importing 100% of our food and the things we need. We need to be a country that produces something, or else we will not be a country. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Yes,
caller.
so caller, the answer is simple. We need to have a diversified economy, and that is what Grenada has done over the years. We were the first country to move out of banana production. When everybody thought, well, we're mad to move out of banana production. How the banana boat will come here every Monday? We move into tourism, and we got big hotels being built, train our people, and give them quality jobs. And we continue to diversify the economy in a lot of different areas so that we do not depend on just one sector to grow the economy. And countries who depended on oil have learned that during the recession.
Yeah.
They depend on oil price went right down.
Yep.
And then they found themselves in a situation, well, what else can we do?
Yeah.
So we do not build this economy just by growing one sector. It's a diversified approach to growing the economy.
And of course, the relationship between a lot of the sectors is very important.
Yes.
Such as the relationship between farming and tourism. And just as you mentioned, silver sands and sandals. That relationship, had it not been for that relationship, a lot of our farmers would not be producing at the extent that they're producing. You know, we have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. No, it seems like we lost that caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Oh, no, it seems like we've lost that caller. Now, we're only going to take 2 more calls because the minister has to leave. All right, but we're going to take 2 more calls, 2 more comments, if possible, on the live video. If you have a question or a comment, we have another call. Good morning, Mr. Mills. No, it seems like we're losing these calls. All right, let's try again. No, seem to have lost that call. All right. So, something that the caller before would have mentioned about export, and I think he has it a little bit mixed up. Import is what we're trying to reduce on.
We want to increase our export.
Right, so we can produce more in order to export.
Yes.
So it's definitely a win for us.
Yeah, we need to increase our export.
Yeah, once we start producing more. And we have 2 calls. Oh, my. Good morning, caller.
How are everything?
Hi, good morning. Everything's great.
Concerned to do with eat local, grow local and eat local is very important. And when we use the local thing, it's much healthier.
Of course.
Right? Because one of the things that a lot of people go for the far imported thing because they look better. They present better in the package. But when you look at what the foreign thing, what damage it do to the body, right? And there's a saying, ounce of prevention is better than cure. When you eat the local things, right, you keep it much healthier. Mm-hmm. But when we eat foreign things, because we don't know what they put in it, but with our local things, we know what we put in, what we put in it, and it is much healthier. So I want to say it to we Grenadian people, if you want to live long, we have to eat local, and we have to eat local and eat it because it is much healthier for we, and we will live long. Because, you know, like I always say, like before time, on a Sunday, you find your mother, your grandparents, hold a yard pole and kill it, or 2 yard pole for Sunday meal. But right now, if you give people that, they don't want that, right? Because they see what the pole is eating. But this pole and them is much healthier than the foreign thing that coming away, right? So I want to say to we Grenadians, let us consume local. We will consume more local things. You will live longer. It will keep us more healthier, and it will be less expenses for us.
Yeah, thank you, caller. The thing is that everyone agrees that we should eat local. It's healthier, but in reality, we are seeing an increase in the food input bill.
Yeah.
So how we have to translate what we're saying. Yes, into meaningful.
All right, we have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Brother Oliver. Brother Oliver, I heard one of the things you spoke about the eggs. We have a surplus now in eggs. But did we ever have any plan? You know that the day come that we needed eggs. No, we don't need eggs anymore. We should be exporting eggs. Do we have a plan for that? Instead of the eggs that have dropped down to $5 is good for the Grenadian people. But still, you have farmers who's crying out that they can't get, the egg sell because it's too much on the market. No, we should be exporting it into neighbor Trinidad, Barbados, or whoever. Do we have something in place for that? Otherwise, the farmer's going to just go right back down to zero. Because remember, 4 years ago, we had to import. Now we should be starting to export eggs. So I'd like you to take a follow-up on that from me, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, caller. Yes, well, to export eggs, we will have, first of all, must have the market.
Right.
Trinidad is self-sufficient. Barbados is self-sufficient. Our closest neighbor, St. Vincent, has a glut on the market. Mm-hmm. You could get 30 eggs, a tray of eggs in St. Vincent now for $10. Yeah. So it's cheaper than in Grenada. Mm-hmm. So the point is, could you export it to when these countries, there is no demand for the eggs in their market because they were able to supply it, and then the price at which you will be selling it. Also, when you export an egg, you have put it in a container, refrigerate it to keep cool. There's a cost of the freight to send it to the next market, which will increase the price. So the question is, caller, which market are we selling to?
I think one of our biggest problems is that we sometimes put the horse before the cart. A lot of the cart before the horse. A lot of the times, I think this is the first time in a very long time that we've ever had a glut on the market.
That's right.
And we can't just say, well, we assume that because there may have been an issue where farmers would have produced more, but all would have been sold. So how can we now engage a market for eggs with the assumption that there will be a glut on the market? So sometimes we just have to wait, give it time. It's great that the farmers are producing more, but we must start here in Grenada supporting local to give them an opportunity to be able to export.
But the next question is, do we have enough to, when we talk about export, you may fill one 20-foot container?
Yeah,
that's
not enough.
That is not enough.
Because you would need to be able to sustain that. Of course.
And then you wouldn't be able to do that.
Of course. And we're going to take this last call for the minister for the morning. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller, good morning. Hello.
Oh, good morning, Miss Duncan. You are so far away. Yeah.
Oh, good morning.
Mr. Joseph, listen to this. Because I want your comment on this, because I know you're in a position to better help me understand that.
Okay.
What I'm trying to explain here.
Caller, your background
gas prices are high.
Caller,
we agree with that.
Hello.
No. Yeah.
Hi, your background is a little bit noisy.
Yeah. All right. 1 second. Okay. Mm-hmm. What? Travis, audio, just kind of. Yeah. Gas prices are high. I agree with that. No. The fact that so much new buses and other vehicles continue to flow into the island, whereby we have to now starting to look at regulating the market now. And the next point is that the roast corn industry. There are so many people roasting corn now by the road. The fact that so many people are now selling corn and we cannot get enough of it, meaning that every corn that is being roasted on a daily basis, which accounts in the thousands, are being bought by the locals and other people alike. Mr. Joseph, how do you explain that? Because I hear people been trying to bring down, talking about the, people in the rose corn industry. They've been trying to, put some negative tone on it. The fact that these prices are high, so many vehicles, and the corn, so many corns are being roasted, and all is being bought. What does that say about our country? Thank you, sir.
Well, I don't understand the connection you're making between roast corn and the bus, but if you're saying yes, you see there's more vehicles being imported because the economy is doing well, people can get loans, they can now finance the operation. You're correct on that side. With the roast corn, I love to see that. Before, only seasonally your corn, right? And I know the caller will know that very well. Used to be only in certain season. Now, because of the demand for corn, you get in the corn now throughout the year, because remember, we're not importing the corn, Mm-hmm. So the farmers are now producing corn throughout the year because of the demand for the corn by our people. Mm-hmm. What you say, the roast corn and the boiled corn all over, and also every day of the week. So I'll give you 2 examples. In St. David, one farmer who will come during the debushing program and take a contract to work to augment his income, to boost it. The last occasion when we had the debushing gangs up, he told me he's no longer interested in having a contract on the road because corn is bringing in more money than the fortnight he would spend on the road. And I was so happy to hear the farmer saying that. And so that's one that's producing the corn. And next one that is roasting the corn said that she's making more money going to roast corn every day than to go and do a debushing fortnight. And that is where the direction we want to see it heading. It's heading in the right direction. So we have corn, we have coconut being sold, coconut water being sold, and these are the things. And now you have people with higher disposable income, so they can purchase these things. Yeah. As we mentioned earlier in the program, we've seen barbecue every day now, Well, I know barbecue is only Friday and Saturday. Every day throughout the island, people. And why are people selling barbecue? Because you have buyers. People are willing and ready to buy barbecue every day. And that is a good sign in the economy.
It is. Because
you have higher disposable income and you're able to purchase these things. Yes, caller, so I agree with you with the corn. Don't bother with any negative about the roasting of the corn. That's a positive sign. It's a very good thing, and I love to see that.
All right, wonderful. We're going to take this very last call because he's been calling for a while. And then the minister has to leave. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Mills. How are you?
Calling from Carriacou.
Of course.
Just a little, the hunting season closed?
Yes, the hunting season is closed.
Huh?
Yes, it is.
So if last night a car bounced a manico and another week manico, leave it in the road and the ground there?
Well, you didn't really hunt it, you got it by accident.
Yeah, but if the law keep meet me with it, they go say, well, I was hunting, and they might penalty me.
No, you have a good defense.
No, as long as you can explain yourself well.
Oh.
So
well, I just seen that so if in case, because I have one in my possession, which I am a transport bound last night.
Okay.
So I just want to know if I might be provoked by the law if there's some in it.
Nah, you're safe, Mr. Mills. You're safe.
All right, so just explain it to them.
Yes, just explain it to them.
All right, that's nice. All right, you have a nice day, my friend.
You too, Mr. Mills.
Okay,
careful
calling.
All right. Well, Minister, thank you so much for spending time here with us. We know that you're a regular because you like to come and explain the things to the people. So we always love having you. Of course, we know we're going to see you again soon because there's always something to talk about. But, of course, we enjoy having you. So we're going to take a very short break, and then we will be back with just some final closing remarks and conversation. But do you have any closing remarks that you would like to give to the people?
Yeah, sure. I would say over the years we've been talking about eat local, buy local, and I'm not seeing the difference. I would like to say to the people, please support our local industry, our local manufacturer, because you so put in jobs when you do that.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break, and then we will be back with some more conversation.
Welcome to our program brought to
Eat
you
local,
by the Grenada
support
Municipal
local.
Authority. Before we begin this morning's presentation, this message. To the residents of Toko Bay and surrounding communities currently affected by the road closure at Pedmota, you are hereby notified that due to the current road closure, effective Thursday the 23rd of January, garbage collection service will now be provided from 5 a.m. on Mondays and Thursdays. This change is necessary to facilitate the new traffic arrangements and ensure a smooth flow of traffic during early morning rush. Residents, you are asked to please ensure your garbage is out in tied bags or covered bins in time for the collection service, which will now begin from 5 a.m. Thank you. For any questions or concerns, feel free to contact the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority on 444-2019. Now for today's presentation. Today we conclude our discussion with Mr. Richard Beadle, Communication Specialist Consultant with the World Bank, who is currently working with the Ministry of Climate Resilience on the implementation of the ban on single-use handle plastic bags. With under 10 days remaining in the countdown to plastic-free shopping here in Grenada, Mr. Beadle shares with us how the ban on single-use handle plastic bags can positively impact the country.
There are 7 islands in the Caribbean, including Grenada, that early this year, the first couple of months, are banning single-use plastics in various ways. There are some islands who have only responded after they've gotten into dire straits. I'm glad that Grenada is not at the point where visitors come and go on Grandans Beach and they're swimming and their arms and legs are entangled with plastic bags. That's happened in some other Caribbean islands, not too very far from us. Or, different type of pollutants are just found strewn along the beaches. The litter is there. I was in Haiti not too long ago, and in Port-au-Prince, each morning the litter from the streets would blow into the ocean and down the coast, in another part, on the hotel where I was staying. Every morning at 5 o'clock, the team had to get up and walk a 2-mile stretch of beach and clean the beach. And there would be dozens and dozens of bags of litter coming off the waters, and they had to get it out of the way before their guests got up and saw the litter and the garbage on the beach and on the shore and on the sand, so that they could enjoy the waters. We don't have that problem here. And so protection is better than cure, right? And we have to protect pure Grenada from plastic pollution. And what I envision is that we'll continue to enjoy pure Grenada because we foresaw what this plastic pollution could do and really make an attempt to stop it now. So I only see good things. And of course, our children will grow up with more healthy, more sustainable habits. And we can hopefully see us really leading the way environmentally in our region by the decisions we make.
To end our discussion with Mr. Beadle, he gives his final words, encouraging us to be supportive of the upcoming ban.
Protect pure Grenada. Walk with your reusable shopping bag today. You don't have to wait until the date. Don't wait till February 1st. Get into the habit. Put it in your bag. Put it in your car. You go into the supermarket. You forgot it. Go back and get it. Right? Find a nice reusable bag and use it. Don't wait for the day. Choose to refuse plastic. You don't have to take it from the cashier. When you're going to buy food, refuse all the plastic. On March 1st, they're starting the phase of banning the disposable utensils. It's happening. So find the alternatives now. Business people, entrepreneurs, find ways of making some good business practices by providing alternatives. Let's not fight against the wave. Let's ride the wave and make sure that we predict what's happening in the future and we are there instead of being left behind trying to run to catch up. So, this is an opportunity to do that. So don't wait for February 1st. Don't wait for the date. Walk with your reusable shopping bag. Choose to refuse plastic. And let's help protect pure Grenada from plastic pollution.
Listeners, that's all the time we have with you for today. Do enjoy the remainder of your day and join us again next time for another program from the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Guys, and we are back. And if you're just joining us, we were just in studio with our Honorable Minister for Trade, who was giving us a lot of information on our food import bill and why it's so important for us to support local. You know, I always say on the program, and I never get tired of saying it, that we need to start supporting each other, you know, as a people. It takes each and every single one of us as Grenadians to make the thing work. And I hope that with all of this information that we would now see the importance, you know, of supporting our local farmers and supporting our local economy. It's very encouraging to hear that there are opportunities available for our farmers and, of course, our local entrepreneurs to expand and to increase, some of them having already done so, you know, to help support our local economy. And it helps to show that relationship between our tourism sector and agricultural sector, and, of course, that soon to be relationship between our education sector and our agricultural sector, because people need to be educated on the benefits of eating local, on the benefits of producing local, you know. And there are so many opportunities available for our local farmers, but it is up to us as Grenadians to take advantage of. We complain a lot about this is not being done. We complain about that not being done, about the government not doing this and the government not doing that. But how much are we doing as a people to ensure that these sectors thrive, to ensure that our agriculture sector thrives? I mean, let's look at export, for example. We want to be able to export more, but it starts with us, you know. We are the ones that need to support our local farmers so that they are at a place where they have the ability to export, because that costs money, you know, because apart from being able to plant all of that produce to be able to export, we have to talk about all of the costs that are attached or that are associated with exportation of goods. So we have to come to a place where we understand that it is not the government's job. It is, and I shouldn't even say government, because we the people are the government, you know. It's not the politician's job. It's not the parliamentarian's job to ensure that this happens. The parliamentarian's job is to provide an environment where this can become possible. But we as a people must ensure that we take advantage of the opportunities that are being made available to us so that we can see and be a part of the growth in our economy. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Good
How
morning.
are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm right, thank you. And I was listening to our Minister Oliver Joseph, and I was trying to get to him. When I heard you lot talk about the roast corn, it really took me back.
Yeah.
Now the roast corn become the main source of income now for the farmer.
Yeah.
It is very rare now. We can go to the supermarket and get our own produced local corn meal.
Yeah.
All what we're getting is imported one. And sometimes I do want some local corn meal to do my, my cooking, to whatever we have to do with it.
Of course.
I remember Miss Duncan in the days of old, when we are in the we in the community, the people in the community, we used to sit together in the night when we had no electricity. So when there is moonlight, the elderly people and everybody, the young children get together and we sit down in the community, and the elderly come and they're telling us story. And our main source of income, the main source of meal at the time was roast corn.
Yeah.
When they're speaking to us, everybody eating roast corn. And the elderly telling us all about our culture. That's why I learned quite a bit of our culture. Even speaking patois, the elderly people come together and tell us. Now they're selling roast corn a lot on the side of the road, and you're paying $5 for one. $5 for one roast corn. Sometimes the small one is $4. So it does bring them a hefty income to the farmers. But we do need some corn meal back, our local corn meal back in the supermarket, So we, the local people, could eat locally. We eat what we grow and we grow what we eat. That is our motto in our life, not consuming what we imported from abroad. And when you cook it, you have no taste. It got no taste at all. Ours got a better flavor. Our local cornmeal have a better flavor. So please, farmer, do something about that and help us. Ms. Duncan, have a beautiful day. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for your contribution, caller. And it's not just the raw products that the farmer produces, but we can take that raw product as Grenadians to help sustain even our own businesses. For example, instead of going to the supermarket and buying the imported corn to put in our little private restaurants and so on, why not engage a farmer to supply you with the corn that you need? So it's all of these little things. Just as the caller before would have mentioned, we have farmers producing corn. But how many people take that now produced corn and turn it into cornmeal? Or how many people take that now produce cornmeal and make cuckoo for sale, or make corn muffin for sale? And these kind of things. These are the things that we need to start considering, and the things that we need to start thinking about. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, Ms. Duncan, good morning again.
Good morning.
And I must tell you, Mr. Joseph did answer my question in the most appropriate way, meaning the fact that, an industry, so to speak, with people selling corn, roast corn and boiled corn, and the fact that we have barbecues along the streets now in different places every day of the week, Miss Duncan, it tells us that we are on the right track and the economy is progressing in the right direction. That's the reason why we have this kind of disposable income now, whereby we can start literally helping ourselves and developing a new industry.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're very welcome, caller. Thank you for your contribution. It's something that I always say. We have to stop thinking along the lines of job creation is not everyone sitting in an office, or everyone being a doctor, or everyone being a lawyer. That's not job. That's for some people, that's not even what they want to do. When somebody can take planting a couple corn in their backyard and turn it into a business and make a profit off of that, for them, that's a career. For them, that's something that helps them to sustain themselves. That's not a sign of poverty. That's a sign of self-sustainability. And that is what we want for a lot of our Grenadian people, to be self-sustainable. Even Grenada on a whole, we want to get to a place where we are self-sustainable, where we can finally say, well, I'm going to buy orchard in the supermarket. I go in the supermarket and, Miss Jerry in St. Andrew, she does lovely juices in these packets or in these bottles that I can purchase and send my daughter or my son to school with. We want to get to that place, but it takes all of us, because guess what? As much as the farmers plant, as much as the farmers produce, if we don't purchase, it doesn't give them the incentive. So government can say, okay, well, we'll give you incentives on planting tomatoes, or we'll give you incentives on rearing livestock, and so on. But if we as a Grenadian people don't purchase from the farmers, they have no incentive to continue to plant. They're going in a farm and they're working hard to rear these animals or to plant these things, and then Grenadians turning up their noses, or Grenadians not purchasing what they produce. Then the amount of incentives that they receive from government to be able to start their businesses and to build their businesses, it really does make no sense. So we, the people with the buying power, have most of the power in all of this, and that is what we need to understand. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Oh no, we seem to have lost that call. Caller, please try again. We, the persons with the buying power, we are the ones with the power to make these things succeed. Because we can say, oh, there's nothing happening in farming. But a farmer needs to start small before they can grow big. They can't just start big. Because as the minister said, you need to also take into consideration payment for freighting and packaging and even the cost of producing the crop that they are planning to export. All of these things, all of that's all a cost. So we must now take into consideration that we must start supporting our local farmers, our local entrepreneurs, our local business people, so that at the end of the day, we are helping them to be able to find a market up there or to build enough produce to engage a market on the outside. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, my sister Duncan. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Jacob. How are you? I'm good.
I'm fine. I'm fine. To hear you good, well, I good too. And I love to hear my minister talk this morning. But what I want him to talk about, he have 15 ministers.
Mm-hmm.
And for this independence,
Mm-hmm.
I want those ministers, especially for my minister, give us make some local T-shirt jersey. We have a lot of people that could make jersey. All as Miss, the one in St. David, that is Miss, help me with your name now.
I'm not sure who you're speaking about. I'm not too sure who you're speaking about.
No, the one that they in our parish, our office.
Miss Felix?
Mrs. Felix.
Mm-hmm.
She could make the local short too, and I'm sure we have other local one that could make the short. The jersey, no, we can't, they won't able to make the jersey. I wish we could add 15 ministers, putting in the Prime Minister in it too, could get together. And each constituency office, give them some jersey, put on some way for us, instead of we have to go and buy it in the stores and them. We could head running.
Well, there are
that's a good idea.
Well, Miss Jacob, there are a lot of
So you
local.
go give me the answer when I put on the phone.
Okay.
You hear, baby?
All right, darling.
Love you, baby.
Okay,
Love
bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
Well, there are a lot of locals, Miss Jacob, who actually are producing, making prints, a lot of local designs on T-shirts and all things independence, really. So there are a lot of people out there doing it. So you can look for, I can probably give you the name of a few people who have these T-shirts or whatever it is you're looking for available for purchase. So we do have that. But guys, before we close off for the day, of course, I have to mention we have our Independence Celebration that we want every single Grenadian. I remember when I was a child and we would go and line the streets in the town of St. George to see, in St. George's town, to see the parade, and the stadium would be filled with people and everybody enjoying themselves. And then we go on up to the Governor General's residence, for a afternoon snack. These things they're long lost. People now are more concerned with what fete they're going to have. And I'm not saying that these things are wrong or that you should not have a fete every now and again. But for independence, let's keep things that are sacred to our country sacred. Let's teach our children to celebrate things that are meant to be celebrated, like our independence. So we're appealing to people. I think the motorcade is this Saturday. We want to see people coming out in their numbers with your vehicles and your colors and your bandanas and your buntins and your skirtins and whatever it may be, and let's all celebrate together as one people, one nation. I would love to see that. I love to see, even if you don't join from St. George, but when we reach in St. David's, a few people, join us. Let's celebrate And I'm hoping, of course, as a suggestion to the celebrations committee, that they have engaged some cultural groups, maybe some drummers or something of the sort, to really make this a cultural event. It's national, but it's also part of our culture. I always advocate for these things because I love it. I love a big drum. I love a belly. I love these things. I love to see it. And I like to see our people participating. I like to see our people enjoying our Grenadian culture. So let's all become a part of the celebration. And then we have our Calypso competition happening on the 25th. I believe that would be the following Saturday. Oh, sorry, that would be this Friday. Lord, January taking really long to finish. But this Friday, we have the Calypso competition, Independence Calypso competition, happening with our 11 competitors going head-to-head for that title. Remember, from the 1st of February to the 6th, we have a national cleanup campaign. Let us all participate in getting Grenada clean and also keeping Grenada clean. And not just for independence, but way after. Let's be our brother's keeper. Let's ensure that we are doing the right thing, And then, of course, we have the cultural extravaganza at the Grenville bus terminus. For some reason, I'm trying to pull up that document with the dates, and I can't. But we will definitely post it on our website, so you can feel free to go to our Hard Talk page on Facebook, and we will have those dates posted for you. But let's all be a part of the celebration. Let's all participate. It takes every single one of us in Grenada to make this thing work, to make Grenada reach the height that we want to see it at. We want to see agriculture thrive. Let us do our part. We can't just sit down and say government and point fingers at politicians. We all have to play our part. We want to see culture improve. Let's play our part. We want to see education improve. Let's play our part. Let's stop blaming one another. And let's all focus on what we as individuals can do to ensure that we make Grenada the place that we want it to be. You want to see a better lifestyle? You got to work for it. Nothing in life is easy, and nothing in life is free. We have to be willing to work for what we want to see. So let's definitely play our part in all of this and to ensure a better Grenada. Be the change that you want to see on this lovely, lovely island. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. And as I always say, in whatever you say and in whatever you do, be safe, be secure. We always want to be talking with you and never about you. Enjoy the remainder of your day.
8 p.m. sharp. 8 p.m. sharp. Saturday, January 25th at the Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the National Celebrations Committee Independence Calypso Monarch Competition 2020. 11 artists have been selected to challenge the reigning monarch. Show us the sour support. Admission free. Come out in your numbers and witness for yourself. Will Sour Support hold on to his reign, or will Rootsman Kelly, Teacher Eddie, Hawks, Stunner, Zena, Gun, Katura, The Reporter, Denson, Professor Shaggy, or Royalty rise to the occasion? Only time will tell. Remember the date, Saturday, January 25th, 8 p.m. Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the Independence Calypso Competition.
Government invests 26 million EC dollars in St. George's University scholarships for January 2020. Details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, I am Sherry-Ann Noel. Government, through its partnership with St. George's University, has invested $26 million in scholarships for January 2020. This sizable investment is being made through an increased number of scholarships being awarded this year. There is also an increase in the level of enrollment for this semester. Minister with responsibility for tertiary education and skills development, Honorable Pamela Moses, made the announcement on Tuesday during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing. Minister Moses explained that additional scholarships were awarded in arts and science, medicine and veterinary medicine, including nursing.
The government of Grenada and St. George's University are very happy to announce this morning an increase of scholarships for January 2020 semester. In the area of arts and science undergraduate, we have been able to provide an additional 19 scholarships for this semester, January 2020. An increase of 5 scholarships in the area of medicine, and an increase of 2 scholarships in the area of veterinary medicine. So 19 arts and science increase, 5 medicine, and 2 veterinary medicine.
Explaining further, Minister Moses provided a breakdown of the value for individual scholarships. Every scholarship awardee in the medical program benefits from about $800,000 over the 4-year course. For veterinary and medical student scholarships are valued at just over $500,000 for the 4 years. Each beneficiary in the Arts and Science program received more than $290,000 in scholarship assistance, and for pre-med students, the scholarships is worth about $93,000 EC for the 1-year program.
The value of these 49 scholarships to the people of Grenada is EC $12 million. Value of $12 million. The 5 pre-medicine has a duration of 1 year each for each student, and the value there is EC $320,000. The 17 medicine scholarships, each has a duration of 4 years. The value is 12.3 million EC dollars. The veterinary scholarships has been increased to 3. It's a 4-year degree program, 4-year medical degree program, veterinary medicine. It has a value of 1.5 million EC dollars. So we have a total award of scholarship for this semester only of 26 million EC dollars from the St. George's University.
Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear said government and SGU must be commended for empowering thousands of Grenadian students through education.
When you look at the number of students in Grenada, young people, who are afforded an opportunity that they may have never had it not been for the government of Grenada, it tells me that this is something that we need to continue to do. So the number of doctors we have in our system who receive the scholarship through this government, we have to ask ourselves how many of their parents would have been able to sponsor them to go off on a medical scholarship. We just heard the cost per person for a medical scholarship. And so what this tells me is that we should not take this lightly.
Government is optimistic that through its continued partnership with SGU, additional scholarships will be given for the 2nd semester in August. Still with news in education, Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear commends the Grenada Union of Teachers for working with government to find an amicable solution to bring an end to the current work to rules at schools. Minister Pear on Tuesday explained to members of the media that the government is pleased with the progress made so far within the education sector. Since 2019, the union has instructed its membership to adhere to a Work to Rule initiative, which saw the cancellation of key curricular and extracurricular activities at the schools. Minister Pierre commended the union in appreciating and supporting government's mandate of teacher and student development.
The union was saying to the ministry, we are concerned about the standards in the education system. If there was a special medal to be awarded to unions for seeking the interests of the development of the education sector, I will give it to the Grenada Union of Teachers. What I've seen over the past couple months in engaging the union is a union that understands, under the new executive, that we ought to fight for the benefits of teachers. That's a given. That's our responsibility. But while we do that, we must also fight to ensure that we lift the standards of the education system. I commend them. I applaud them. It takes a lot to impress me. I'm extremely impressed that the union has taken that approach.
According to Minister Pierre, there are still questions about whether government owes money to teachers who engages in industrial action for 9 days in 2019 under the premise of rest and reflection. She said government has no obligation to honor the request to pay salaries, since rest and reflection is not a legitimate act of protest.
We can only work with what is contained in the laws of Grenada when it comes to industrial action. So the law speaks about red and ban. It speaks about go slow. It speaks about strike. Nowhere contained is rest and reflection. And the government has been consistent. We cannot honor rest and reflection as an industrial action. It exists nowhere. And to date, we have not been able to find anywhere, nor has the union been able to present us with anything that justifies rest and reflection. Therefore, the government remains consistent that the government has no obligation to refund any monies to any teacher who said that I was on rest and reflection. We continue to ask, what is this?
Minister Pierre says the union and government are currently in dialogue to make Work to Rule a thing of the past.
We have a responsibility to work together to build the education system. And in that regard, the government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Education and the union, has been discussing how is it can we put ourselves in a position where we put ourselves ahead of, putting Work to Rule behind us and moving on. We have been in some serious discussions over the last few months, and I believe we are closer to the end than we are to the beginning of this. We continue to dialogue. I'm not going to say at this stage what the content of those discussions happen to be, but what I say to you is that we have made significant progress working together with the union, and I look forward very soon to a total resolution of this matter, understanding that we are consistent, that we did not deduct pay that we are supposed to return on the grounds that the union was on industrial action during that period.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
8 p.m. sharp. 8 p.m. sharp. Saturday, January 25th at the Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the National Celebrations Comedy Independence Calypso Monarch Competition 2020. 11 artists have been selected to challenge the reigning monarch, Show Nas, the Sour Support. Admission free. Come out in your numbers and witness for yourself. Will Sour Support hold on to his reign, or will Rootsman Kelly, Teacher Eddie, Hawks, Stunner, Sena, Gun, Katura, The Reporter, Denson, Professor Shaggy, or Royalty rise to the occasion? Only time will tell. Remember the date, Saturday, January 25th, 8 p.m. Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the Independence Calypso Competition.
Welcome back. 5 designs of Grenada national wear will be unveiled during the 2020 Independence celebrations. That's according to Culture Minister Senator Nolan Cox. He made the announcement on Tuesday during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing. The Ministry of Culture, together with the Grenada Cultural Foundation, has been working since 2019 to create a national wear for both male and females. Designs will be showcased and final agreements will be reached as to which one will become the Grenada national wear.
For Independence, 5 designs will be unveiled for Independence, and thereafter those designs will be subjected to public voting methodology for a final selection. So you'll hear more on this development going forward. There's been a lot of call that when persons go out in the diaspora to represent Grenada, we do not have a national wear. And so the Ministry of Culture, together with the Foundation, we have been working on this to finally have a national wear for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
Various activities are being organized for the 46th Independence celebrations, which will commence on Saturday, January 25th, with an island-wide motorcade. The annual Independence Rally will be held on February 7th, and 11 finalists will be competing in the Independence Calypso competition, which will take place in St. Patrick at the bus terminal on Saturday.
On Saturday, the 1st of February, we move to the Grenville car park, where we have the cultural extravaganza. Last year it was fantastic. A lot of artists, a lot of performances. It was a wonderful extravaganza we had in Grenville, and this year we expect no less but better than what happened last year. And so we want to thank Seydou, who has been working with the celebrations committee to ensure that these festivals this activity come off to be a successful one. On Sunday the 2nd, we have our ecumenical service at the Catholic Church in St. Paul's. For persons within that area and surrounding area can come and celebrate with us as we give thanks and praise for yet another anniversary of our independence. I think it's important that we do that, and that setting is dedicated towards us being there to celebrate and to give thanks for 46 years as an independent nation.
And finally, vehicle owners are reminded that the Royal Grenada Police Force will be conducting inspection from January 2nd to June 30th. Sergeant Anthony Calise, attached to the Traffic Department, during an interview with GIS, said the inspections will be done in all parishes, including Carriacou. Persons are encouraged to act early in having their vehicles inspected, as to allow ample time for any changes that may become necessary to ensure compliance with other provisions of the Motor Vehicles Road Traffic Act. He highlighted what is expected from the vehicle owners when presenting their vehicles for inspection.
When carrying a vehicle for inspection, it must be presented in a thoroughly clean condition, and it must be recently overhauled. Yeah? All parts must be in good order and functionable. Example, your tires supposed to be good, your handbrakes supposed to be working, your horns, your lights, your wipers, the body condition of the vehicle should also be good. Yeah? There should be no colored lights. Your muffler should have a proper silencer. You know, some vehicles are made quiet and some are made to make noise. So if your vehicle is a quiet vehicle, we don't expect you to come and inspect with it making noise and disturbing the whole place. It have to be in accordance with the manufacturer's standard.
Sergeant Calise encouraged the motorists to continue to work with the police force as they work towards ensuring safety on the nation's roads.
I would like to thank the motorists for their cooperation for last year.
Okay.
And I beg of them to continue giving us that good support. And those who are not supporting, we like them to get on board. Yes, because we're all in these things together. And I'll advise them as well, you know, stop using the illegal things. You know, if you know that the light is not approved by the law, you should not go about using it.
And with that story, we come to the end of the National Report for Tuesday, January 21st, 2020. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I'm Sherry Noel, thanking you for viewing.
8 p.m. sharp. 8 p.m. sharp. Saturday, January 25th at the Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the National Celebrations Committee Independence Calypso Monarch Competition 2020. 11 artists have been selected to challenge the reigning monarch. Show Nas the sour support. Admission free. Come out in your numbers and witness for yourself. Will Sour Support hold on to his reign, or will Rootsman Kelly, Teacher Eddie, Hawks, Stunner, Zena, Gun, Katura, The Reporter, Denson, Professor Shaggy, or Royalty rise to the occasion? Only time will tell. Remember the date, Saturday, January 25th, 8 p.m. Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the Independence Calypso Competition.